Hi everybody, happy Friday. I hope it's as lovely where you are as it is here. It's such a nice day here in Portland, Oregon. Can't wait to spend the rest of my afternoon. Well, I can't wait to paint for you, but I'm going to spend the rest of my afternoon on a walk and doing some yard work. So so today I'm so surprised that we had so many people waiting. I guess people like olives. I know it's a little bit of an unusual choice for today, but what's not to love about this jar? It's so pretty, the reflection, the olives. I also think that the typography, the labeling on it's really kind of interesting. So we'll see how that turns out. I want to show you how I would go about doing that. What we used to call in the illustration field Greeking. So I think it's going to be really fun to do. And just a couple of little announcements. I want to share a couple more sneak peeks of year 3 of the monthly pastel painting lessons online, the subscription, with you before we get started today. And that's kind of it. Other than that, we're just going to have fun and paint. I've just been busy in the studio. I am working on just wrapping up the creative part of a new workshop. It's Adventures in Acrylic, so stay tuned for that. I'm not exactly sure when we're going to have it all finished and ready for you, but that's coming pretty soon. So that's really fun. I've just really enjoyed digging into just a wide variety of subject matter for that. And let's see, I guess that's it. Without further ado, I did want to mention just a couple other things. So I get a ton of questions about this, about my little sketchbook. And so I just wanted to share with you. I love working in it. And I've been playing around with these gel pens and some pencil lines. So I really love this little craft paper. It's really fun to work on. And so what this is it's called Bee paper. It's actually in Beaverton, Oregon, and this one is the recycled sketch, but there's different ones from the same company. But I actually did get it from, I want to say I got it on Amazon, but I know Blix also carries them as well. So they're really cool, and they're different ones, so you can check those out. Okay, I get a lot of questions about that. All right, let me share a couple of things from year 3 with you. Let's see, I'll just put them right here. So we did one of the months, we did intimate landscape. So this is one of the pieces from it. And this is Taos, New Mexico. And I just love the kind of Southwest colors, a little bit more muted greens and kind of a little bit more nuanced color in this one. So I really think that this one turned out fun. Playing with the foliage and the branches and the twigs. And of course I love that kind of tangled brush, and it was fun to do. And a little paper. And another wave. This one's just a little bit closer up wave than the other one, and all this foam and the spray and it just this transparency I think turned out really well. So this was one of the lesson pieces as well. So yay, that's really fun to look at. And what else we got? Still life was one of the great months. And so this one's a little bit more traditional still life, but just playing with the various materials and different kinds of objects, the reflections, the soft edges in here. Love these kind of lost and found edges, and that there's the color and the lights kind of refracting and diffracting, and then the reflections down here. Really, really neat. So year 3 is going to be awesome, and we've just got lots of plans. Going to keep up with doing the super streams for year 3 and also the mileage trainings, which I'm trying to get get kind of wrangled a little bit. So this is another one, still life. We did those daisies was kind of similar to this, did the jar. So this was really fun. Kind of simple, but nice. And then chickens and ducks, did this rooster. He's awesome. And this one, we did a lot of mixed media in this one. So there's an underpainting here that was, I think I used some Sharpie. I used some alcohol. So we really did a really playful underpainting on this one, just to get kind of loose and have fun. And really, I think that it is in line with his character. So it's really good. All right, it was fun. Okay, so I want you guys go ahead and feel free to ask questions as I'm getting ready here. I can answer some questions, and then I want to talk a little bit as we're getting going here about the olive jar. And so I'll just let some questions come in, and I'll just keep chatting a little bit about the olives. Now, interesting about these, so there's a few things that we know about the jar, and there's a few things that I want to get. So I'm always thinking about that in terms of painting, what it is that I know, what it is that I want, and putting that together. And so with this guy, we know it's a cylinder. That's pretty obvious. It's simple. That part of it is simple. It's a cylinder. Also, we've got some ellipses to deal with, right? But luckily, or not luckily, because I took the photograph, this one on the top here, it's pretty simple. It's pretty oblique, so we're not really seeing that much. See a little bit more obviously at the bottom. So we've got that to deal with. Pretty colors. I love the colors. I love the color of the olives and those pimentos. I did a little research on those pimentos, and it used to be that olives had to be stuffed by hand, but now they do it, well, they do it both by hand and by machine now. And found out about olives too. They have to be fermented in a brine for about 9 months before you can eat them after they're harvested. That's kind of interesting. Now let's take a look at this, the type on here. That type, oops, sorry, Bryce.
All right.
Okay, yeah, whoop, I'm in the way. Kevin, can you move the,
Oh, yep.
yeah, I gotta move this guy over.
Let's jump over. So,
there we
let's
go.
see here. Let's move that guy right there. How's that?
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
Gotta get this guy out of the way a little bit. Okay. All right. So this lettering is not white. Let's come over here and look at that. Now that's closer to white. Let's get the value scale out. Look at that. That lettering is not white. Even that lettering is not white. So that's good information that I have already. I have both my iPad and the photograph today. I have my iPad here. Because I'm looking at the iPad, I have a little bit wider view on the iPad that's got a little bit more of the cast shadow that's against the background. So I like that, so I want to include that. I also have, oh, I know what's going on. Also, on the photograph in my iPad, I have a little bit more reflection. I have a reflection because I put a piece of glass on the table so that I have a little reflection in the glass of the jar. You guys can't see that, maybe. I'm not sure which one they have.
I don't see it now.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry about that. That's my mistake. But I'm going to try to get that reflection a little bit in the composition. But other than that, I'm going to keep that jar pretty big because that's the only thing I'm painting. And so we'll just go ahead and get started on that. All right, I'm going to try to
Marla, Gloria has a question.
Sure.
About trouble identifying neutrals. Can you do a lesson either in mileage or somewhere on neutrals?
On neutrals.
Yeah.
Tell me more. What was her name again?
Gloria.
Gloria, could you just expound on that question a little bit? Tell me a little bit more about what your trouble is. What maybe you could just give me a little bit more information. But yeah, sure, I can definitely do some kind of lesson on the neutrals. Yeah, because they're really important. We really need to be able to orchestrate them. And maybe as I'm working today, I can talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, like maybe when you choose a neutral, you could talk about that specifically. How you're identifying that in relation to the reference photo.
And well, we can do a teeny bit before we get started. We'll have time because it's probably gonna go fairly quick today. So like one thing that I think about, so I have this neutral section here in my tray, right? And some of these guys, so some of these neutrals have some chromatism. They're what I would consider chromatic grays. So they're not absolutely achromatic. Like some of them are almost achromatic, like they don't really have any identifiable hue. Like this one's a pretty good example. It doesn't really have, you look at it and it's pretty much like dead center gray. But some of them have a little bit of color, like this one has some green. But then when you go to put them someplace else amidst the hues, like you say, oh, this one's kind of green, and then you get this one over here and you go, does it belong here? Well, yeah, it could. Like this one's kind of fits in here. It could live over here. It could. Then let's take this one. This one's got some red in it, and it could live over here. Like these are kind of neutralized. They're tints. Same thing. But then let's take one of these, and you could say, okay, maybe this one is kind of neutral. It's definitely a muted color. It doesn't have a lot of saturation. But we take this and we bring this over here and see how, if I bring it over here in the right value range, that one kind of pops out a little bit, maybe too much. So I kind of think it does want to live over here. Let's do another one. Let's say, well, maybe, I don't know why purple's poking out at me. Like this is kind of it's a muted color. And I put it over here, and that one's a better example. That one pops out too much from just on average of my neutrals. So I think it wants to live over here. So that's kind of for me. And so when you're talking about neutrals, we're talking about saturation. And saturation is a continuum just like value. So I could pick a bunch of greens and that are relatively the same in value, but differ only in saturation. And that's the same thing with all of them. And that understanding is so important in painting. And my Color College workshop is a great one. I really go into that in depth. And that's something that to me is really important as a painter, to be able to take those three aspects of color, hue, value, and saturation, and separate them out so that you can identify them so that you can orchestrate those three aspects in your painting to bring attention to a focal point, to de-emphasize something. All of that becomes really, really important. And once you understand it, then you're rolling. Okay, so enough of that for now. Get painting. I did go ahead and pull out a couple of extra sticks that I knew I would probably, or I thought I would probably want today. And so I dug into my back stock of new pastels and I pulled out a black. And I sharpened that to a point with an X-Acto blade. See that? And what else did I do? I got a new piece of blue spruce, and I got some white. I think I'm going to want that. And so I think I'm going to use those. And by the way, I had a thought the other day. I'm going to do a little mini lesson on why I like the blue spruce so much rather than anything else to do the initial sketching and lay-in, because I get so many questions about it. I'm just wild about that color, but there's a reason for it. It's not just random. So I want to talk about that. Okay, let's get painting. Kevin, I just think that I'm going to be blocking this.
Okay, I'll just move the camera a little bit. So here's a quick question. Is saturation similar to chroma?
Yes, chroma is another. Chroma and intensity are both, they're synonyms for saturation. So when something is considered prismatic, it's got lots of chroma. If it's neutral, it's dull, it has less chroma. Okay.
Let's see how that goes.
I think that's better.
Good?
Okay. All right. Okay. This is in my way. Oh, Kevin, I really need that over there. You're not going to like that, but
need the.
I need to see it, and it's kind of right in my, up in my.
You want it on your left side?
I want it here.
Well, let's move it over.
Sorry, guys.
No problem. There we go.
No.
Careful.
Oops.
Keep one hand on that iPad.
What?
You don't want that iPad to fall off that stand.
No. Is that good? Okay, that is good. Okay. Alrighty, now we're set. Okay, so what do we know about this jar? We know. So I'm gonna put it off center a little bit because I want a little bit of. This is a new piece of new pastel, and so I got to get it going again. There we go. All right, so I want the top of my jar, so I'm just going to give myself some information about that top of that jar, and that's kind of all I need there. And I'm going to make it about that wide, I think. And so if that's the case, I want to get it pretty straight. And there's no reason not to measure. Now, the camera, the photograph has got it so that it, I gotta get a little bit more of this shape of it. The camera has distorted it. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make it straight. Let's see, I need the little, it dips down, and then is that about, I think that's about it. So that like that. This lid kind of has a little arc to it, a little shape to it, and then it dips down and it's got a little kind of nice corner. Then I'm just eyeballing this. I could be a little more precise about it, but I'm not going to do that. So now I'll come down here into this bottom ellipse. And it would be nice to get that sort of semi-perpendicular. get it. Now, do I feel like that's the right width? I feel like maybe it's a little too wide, or maybe I need to come down. I think it needs to come down a little bit more. I'll really think about that ellipse. And, you know, if it's not exact, it's not exact. It's okay. All right. And then thinking about this cast shadow on it. And this is the part that's a little different from what you guys see. I think it's like that. And
Marla, there's a few suggestions for an ellipse mini lesson.
I know. I want to do it. I've been meaning to do it. And there's, you know, I just eyeballed it today, but there's definitely some tools that you can use that really help you. There's some pretty simple tricks to it. I know, because you really want that, because in terms of still life, there's so many times when you want to. So now I'm just going to get my olives in. They're all like little plump olives. They're so cute. They're clustered in there, and then there's this shape of the label here. I've got this label, and then there's this little kind of starburst thing here. And again, I don't need to be perfect about that. And then there's a little, on the label, that's kind of cute. There's this little, I'm going to show you guys. Here's the label. There's this little hand with olives on the, I didn't, you know, isn't that funny? With the, it's just cute.
Oh, like olives on the fingers?
Yeah, on the fingers.
Oh, cool.
It's actually on the label. It's really funny. And so we want to get this one to turn the corner here. And then I like this orange one down here. And that orange one, you know, is still working on ellipses, the label, right? So we've got to get that label's going around. There we go. That's not bad. All right, so now we got these guys sitting in here. They're so it's just so attractive. You know, I was looking. I wanted to do something like this for you guys, and I was in the grocery store, and there's a little label right here too. And I saw these, and wow, they're so attractive. And here's okay, so I found out, so this little star shape is because there's when they take the pit out, there's a little star-shaped thing that winds up on the bottom there. That's from when they're taking the pit out with the machine.
So here's a question. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason why you would not draw with charcoal?
Yeah, the reason, yes, and that's one of the things that I was going to address in the mini lesson that I'm going to do about the blue spruce. Now, the reason I don't like the charcoal is because I feel like the charcoal residue mixes in an unsatisfying, at least to me, way with the pastel. whereas the new pastel does not do that. And I like the residue that happens with the new pastel, where it's not the same with the charcoal. That's, you know, just me, though. Okay, so there we go. There's my label. That's all I need so far, I think. There's my jar, rather. I think that's pretty good. Now, where do I want to start? I don't exactly know what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to do that because I want to remind myself. I'm going to do a little bit of this. And this is the label back here, so a little bit of that. And here's the little hand label. So funny. And just thinking about what's in the shadow. So already that sort of helps, right? It helps me get oriented. There's a little cast shadow from that label. There's all kinds of fun stuff to paint in here. It's amazing. There's yeah. So there's all, you know, each of the olives has its own sort of form to it that needs to be addressed. So you can kind of start to get some of that, and there's a little cast shadow from this label onto some of these. Oh, I think that this actually comes out a little bit more like that. Okay, good. Fun. Nice. All right, I'm thinking today that I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of background in first. And I kind of like the blue that's in this photograph. It's actually a interesting. So the background, when I took the photograph, I photographed it against a black piece of foam core, the same black foam core. And because of the light, it's daylight coming in there, it's very blue. But I like it, so I'm going to kind of go with that. So that's interesting because I know that this is actually black, but the light, the prevailing light is giving me that blue.
And I know you've covered this before, and we know that you use blue spruce a lot, but why specifically blue spruce?
Well, that's what I'm going to do in the mini lesson. I'm going to talk about that. Why? I have, you know, I thought about it a lot because I'm like, okay, I use it. People want to know why, so I put some effort into why. Well, why is it? Why is it?
But you don't use it all the time.
I don't use it every single time, but I use a lot. So there's that.
Like when we did portraits, you used that brown.
Yeah, I used, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't remember which color, but.
Okay, so now let's figure out an olive color. It's kind of a goldy, greeny something. Couple things over here. The photo wants it to be a little bit lighter. But I'm going to start with this kind of middle of the road color for them. And I'm just going to go ahead and get it kind of overall. And up in here, because that color is throughout, even over here in the shadow, I'm just going to skitter it over the shadow area that I already put in. So it still maintains some of that darker value. See that? Like that. coming right along. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get something in for, I want to do some fun stuff with this lid as well. I like the type on the lid too. Now, one thing I want is I want a little bit of lost and found edges, so I'm going to concentrate on that a bit too. Now, let's get something in for this side of the label. It's also not white. See how I went over the edge here? Okay, that's fine. You don't need to stay in the lines. I can always come back over that and clean up that edge if I want. And then how about this orange label? That kind of makes sense to get some of that in. And it's pretty orange. And then it turns away. I'm going to be able to get that typography over the top of this, I think. I don't think that'll have too much problem because it's not super thick. Maybe even a little brighter, huh? It's already fun. But you guys probably know I'm pretty easily amused when it comes to painting, so it's not surprising. Okay, so as I get over here, getting into shadow. So make where that transition from light to shadow is, get it. That's cool. It's really cool. All right, so now these colors that I've got going on here aren't too bad for the pimentos. Let's give that a try. And I'll come back to these and get them a little. Is that the only ones that I see? Yeah, I guess so. Kind of want one up here. I kind of want one up here. I'm going to put it in. Okay. Now that the pearls, do I want to put, I think I'm going to put, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a value or color that works for that lettering, and I'm going to put that in first. And I'm thinking something like this over here. Maybe a little bit different. Maybe more like this. And what I'm going to do is get the black around that. That's my plan. We'll see how that works. Now, same thing for this kind of starbursty thing. Over here, get over here, right here, it's not white. Look at it, it's definitely not white. Look at how dark it is. It's like this. What is that? What do I want to do? Not sure. I want to put that back there. I'm kind of thinking something like this. It's like this little scalloped, thing here, like that. And then as it gets in the light, it gets a little brighter and yellower. like so. And then, let's see, over here.
It was pointed out, Marla, I think you already know this,
What?
that new Pastel 305 is technically called Spruce Blue.
Spruce Blue
and
instead of
not
Blue Spruce. Oh,
But we're going to continue to call it Blue Spruce.
we're going to call it Blue Spruce because it's just not going to happen to
That's how we roll.
change. It's sweet. We just roll.
I double checked it actually. I looked it up.
Did you?
Yeah, just because I wasn't too confident on that. I think we did talk about that one time a long time ago.
Oh, that's funny.
Not on a chat on a live stream, but another time.
Oh boy. Well, we should call them and get them to change it. They will.
Yeah, get all your followers and groupies to
Yeah.
call them and get them to change it.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. All right, this is coming together. It's fun. So there's a little, some nuance of the colors in here that I have not gotten around to, but so I'm just kind of starting in to get some of that, and this label isn't reading quite in shadow the way I want it to, so I'm gonna get that a little bit more, like, yeah, that's better. I'll come swing around to that too. All right, now I think it'd be good to get, I'm gonna get a little bit of this down here, a little color in here, and the thickness of the glass, and it's reflecting some of this color of the olives in there as well. And this guy is a little darker here and got some more. So there's just all kinds of fun things happening. And this guy, back in there. This guy. All right. Good. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, I've got plenty of time. The ground plane, that would be good to get in. I'm just going to make it, I'm just going to use that local color as a guide. That's fine. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. Just to start out. And now I can carve into my contour if I want. I need to change that ellipse a little bit. I think it's not too bad. Maybe a little. I want to come up on this a bit. I'm not going to get super involved in getting that wood grain or anything today. It could be fun to do that, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today. All right, but what I do want to do is I want to get this a little bit darker here. Now, again, see, I'm going outside of where I want to be to start, because I know I can come back in with that background and get it again. And get my ellipse down here. right. There's a little bit of sneaky bit of this blue popping back in here, which I kind of like. It's kind of pretty. I'll work on that. It's not quite that much, but all right. But now I've got this section too dark, and it's not reflecting the color of the tabletop. So I need to come back and get that. But I'm going to leave that for now because I want to get some other stuff going. And I can use this brown up here in my olive guys. Actually, I want to switch to something a little different than that. I want more of this dark green in here. Oh, that's not dark enough. Let's see. What else have I got? Maybe this? Yeah. Now, what's going to make this really fun and come together is the labels. What? All right. And I like the glow of everything. It's pretty fun. Let's see. Where did I put that stick? All right. Okay, time to get to work a little bit. I've been kind of messing around. All right, let's get. And then this one.
Here's a question for you.
Yep.
Can you have an underpainting in acrylic?
Yeah, as long as it's thin enough.
You usually use the fluid acrylics for doing that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yep, it just got to be thin, and then you're fine. All right, so now, okay, so now I want to get my labels going here, you guys. So I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna start with the black one. Now, so it's pretty black. I don't need it to be exact. I just need it to be sort of kind of. So I'm going to just start in with these shapes. I'm not going to get all of it in, I don't think. Let's see. I want it to be a little different than that. Let's see. I want that S. I want the S. I want the L. I want the R. A. Okay. So that's good. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a minute and come back to it because I want to get that other part up here with the silly little hand. And then I'm going to make sure it looks like it's in shadow. And it's got a little gray thing on the top. And this has got, and then this, the S is a little bit more in the light, and the L okay, so I'm thinking that that's not bad. So I'll see, I'll come back to it. I don't want it to, see, I don't want it to be exact, because if it's exact, it's got to be exact. So it's better for it to be sort of like our brain's going to fill it in. It's better for it to be like that than for it to be exact, unless it's totally exact. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to put the little logo thing there. Now I'm going to come to the this other part of the label, the starburst thing. And then that starburst, as it goes into shadow, it's not white. It's more and then let's see.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you ever use a pastel or a sharp charcoal pencil for fine work?
A pastel pencil. I do, but not it's seldom.
You used to do that quite a bit when you were doing the illustrations and
yeah,
all that.
I did.
What are those ones called again?
I used to use Carbothello pastel pencils when I was an illustrator. We used those a lot. So now see, I'm switching to this other value as it goes into shadow, because otherwise it won't read like it's in shadow. I want it to read in shadow. I think that, okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. I like it. Then we've got this guy that's doing some kinds of things that are a little bit colorful. It's got some green on it. It's got something like, it's got this little butterfly thing on it. And then this guy, maybe a little bit lighter overall. I'll come back to it as well. And then on here, there's some lettering. Again, I don't want it to look exact. And as it turns into shadow, it's got to change in value and hue a little bit. So it looks like letters. We want it to be letters, but it's not exact. It has a character of letters. Ah, that's so fun. There we go. I knew that would be fun to do. All right. All right, and let's see what else. What else do I want to do? I'm gonna get up there to this guy, and it's got some purple on it. And then I'm going to come into the background again. Time is it? Oh, I've got time. I love painting this kind of thing because I love everything around us. It's really about how you see, not what. It's what you bring to it, and just like bringing that kind of enthusiasm and focus to something is what it's about. It's not. It's the process. You know, I was thinking about, actually I'm also going to talk to you guys about what to do with, you know, people say, oh, I've got so many paintings. What do I do with them all? And I don't paint anymore because I've got too many paintings, or, you know, things like that. And they're not precious to me. My paintings aren't precious to me. So I'm gonna talk about what all of that a little bit. Ooh, this is a good color. This is kind of a more muted green gray. This is a good one for this. Cool. All right, let's get in here. Let's get in here. Get this. I want to look at this. This photo has a little, it's fun. Oh, background. And then this. A little bit of like that. Maybe. I gotta clean that up, but I'm kind of liking it. Okay. And this needs to be a little bit darker right there. I'm thinking right here.
There's some chatter on the chat here about how people are excited to paint everyday objects.
Oh yeah, well, there's so much to paint.
I like that general overall theme of it's not what you paint, but how you paint it.
Yeah,
that's a good theme.
It's just bringing your artist's eye. Well, look, when we did the watercolor workshop, which I'm planning on another edition of, not sure exactly when, but we, painted a shoe. It was great. Absolutely great. All right. Okay. Fun. A little more aqua. Never have enough aqua in my book. Oh, maybe that's too much aqua. All right, so now I've been holding back. I'm going to do some. Well, first of all, I need to do a little bit of cleanup on the label, but it's pretty good. What I want to do now is some highlights. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, and I'm gonna. All right. It's starting to come together though. And clean up that. What I need to do is go in here and get that. All right, let's see. I just want to step back and take a look at it. That's pretty fun. That's a little crazy in here. It doesn't need to be so crazy. I'm going to simplify this. It's just a little crazy. It doesn't need to be that much. Like that. That's better. And I want to look at my orange. I have here. And I'm also gonna all right, now that's a little bright. I want to see that edge could use a little bit of work, but what I'm going to do, I want to get the really fun highlights on the jar now because I haven't done that yet. And then I think I'll be just about there.
So here's a quick question. Is it a compositional choice you made for the jar shadow? Is the jar shadow in your painting is slightly different than the one?
Yeah, you guys aren't seeing exactly. You might not have heard that at the beginning of the stream. I'm actually working from a slightly different photograph than what you guys are seeing, and I apologize for that. But yeah.
The main difference is the cast shadow.
Yeah, the cast shadow is up against the wall on the background in the photo that I have. Yeah, and I like that. It's cool, and that's why I decided to use it. But I guess I didn't realize I posted the wrong one. Okay, so and it's also got a little reflection of the jar in it, which is kind of cool. So that is, looking at what that is, like right here. Whoops, that's not going to work. The color is often strange. Let's see. It has a little reflection like that. Okay, now I'm going to put in the stuff that I've been waiting forever to do because it's the most fun, and then I'm going to put some highlights on these olives. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some pretty light stuff. Get it cleaned off. I want to fix the top of the lid. There's all kinds of things that I'd like to do if I have time. Let's see. But first of all, I'm going to put some highlights in. I don't want to go too crazy about it because I don't need to. But they sure look fun. They're really neat. Yeah. That just tickles me. I just love it. Okay, now, all right. So, what are the things that I want to do to clean it up a little bit? Now, The other thing that people ask me a lot about is finishing. Like, what do you know, how do you know you're finished? Well, first of all, I think finishing is overrated. Because it's not really about that, do you have a finished product that you're, going to sell or you're going to do whatever with? Yeah, yes, you definitely want to have that sometimes, but on the whole, for me, it's not really about that. It's really like, it's just being in here doing it. It's the process, more the process than the product. So, maybe more unfinished things are a sign of growth. Okay. Then there's a little bit over here. And then could do some stuff like this. But I'm not going to get carried away with it. Some nice darks in there and olives. Really get them to be nestled in there. That is fun. All right, now I like it. Boy, it's fun. That is. Okay, as I'm finishing up here, maybe if we have any questions, we could take some questions. And turned out fun.
Well, there's one comment. The problem I have isn't unfinished work, but over finishing. Never know when to stop.
Oh.
Knowing when to stop is really crucial.
Well, I think it kind of is the same thing, right? In a way, right? Whether you're it's just like where are you at with that? Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, to me, it's better to stop sooner than later. I'm always looking to see when does it feel like it's a unified whole. And I'm also always trying to circle back to, did I get what I came for, kind of. That's one of the things I think about a lot too. Like, and is something that I'm going to do, is it going to further that thing that I wanted to get in the first place? If you don't have clarity on what it is that you want to get in the first place, then that makes it all the more difficult to know when you're finished, because it's almost impossible. So it's really important to understand why you're painting a thing, because I think that there is this tendency to start in on something, and then you're halfway through and you're like, what the heck am I doing here? Why am I doing it? And knowing that really strongly going in and holding on to it. Now, that's not to say that there are paintings that sort of breathe a life of their own, and you in the process of painting them, you are moved in a different direction than you expected, and then it becomes this little bit messier than we would hope sometimes, and that can be a really beautiful thing when a painting, you let the painting speak to you and it drives you. That's a little bit different than like going, oh, I went too far. I think a lot of times when it depends on where you are on your journey of painting, but people that are maybe a little bit less experienced sometimes, and I'm not saying that the person that asked the question is, but sometimes I think that have a tendency to defer to the reference, whether it's plein air or the photograph, defer to the reference to decide whether it's good or done, rather than checking into the painting. What's the painting doing? What's the painting? Is painting saying all that it needs to say? Because at one point or another, you're not deferring to the reference anymore. You're like, what does the painting need? And then it becomes easier to, I'm done, if you're not always checking in on the reference, if that makes sense. Okay.
So Marla, do you want to put a frame on that real quick?
We could. It doesn't really sort of need it in a way, but...
well, we'll just put the mat on there and we'll zoom in.
It's fun.
I'll square it up.
It's super duper. I like it. It's maybe one of my favorite ones that we've done live.
This cord in the way.
That's really fun. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to sell it. Actually, because of that, it's really...
I'll zoom in a little bit too to get a better shot here. And then if you can just step aside when you're...
Yeah, I'll get out of the way.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's neat. And doing stuff like such good practice. Boy, look at, the ellipses, the highlights, the form, the labels, the background. There's so much there. And painting something like this, you just like focus in on, a few things. Not too, there's not very much in composition other than, like we were talking about, the position of the cast shadow and such. Is it on glass? What kind of surface? What kind of background? Those are important compositional choices when you're doing a simple objects like this. But they do give you the opportunity to focus in on other things.
And do you want to take a look at some of the sticks you used?
Yeah. Oh boy, I used a lot.
So I'll zoom down
it's kind of a mess down there. but I guess that's okay. Let's see. I got lots of stuff. Got some blacks. And then nice bright colors for the labels. These kind of subtle greens for the olives. For the olives! Go figure. It's funny when the color is named for the thing, you know, like that's like orange, olive. What other colors are like that?
That's a good question. I'd have to look that one up.
Yeah. Self-referential. I don't know. I'm sure there's a name for that. I'm sure there is. Oh, I want that to be darker.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Oops. There's one more thing here. So the labels got to follow the ellipse here a little bit more. Okay. All right, guys. I'm done playing. And I hope you have a really lovely weekend. If we have any other questions, I'll maybe just sit here and wait for some to come in. Unless we're done.
Well, I think we're probably done.
Okay.
There's lots of thank yous and a few of the plums, lemons, eggplant, lavender.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah. Aubergine. Yes. Is that an eggplant? Same. I don't know if an aubergine is an eggplant or not, but let's see.
Oh, question.
Yeah.
Do you have a title for this painting?
I'm not yet. It's olives. There's a couple things I want to do. I want to work on this guy down here. This guy, he wants to be a little brighter, and I think that's cool.
Cool. So you want to call it a day?
Yeah, let's call it a day, you guys. Okay, I'm done picking on it. I hope you have a great weekend. Make sure you head to the website, paintinglessonswithmarla.com, and see what we have going on there. And we have lots planned in the upcoming week. So please come back and see us next week for another live stream. And I don't know what I'm going to paint yet. I haven't decided, but I'll come up with something fun. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.